Hi there, this is Phil McKinney, and this is 5 Minutes to New Ideas, the only podcast for the creative mind looking for that next great idea. Each episode will challenge you to think differently about yourself and your business by asking unique, funny, and sometimes crazy questions. Get your notebook out and be ready to uncover that game-changing idea. Here is 5 Minutes to New Ideas. Do you sell atoms or bytes? Do you think that your answer could change over the next 5 years? Think about Amazon and the Kindle. Jeff Bezos asked, "What is my role going to be if the nature of books changes?" He realized that to stay relevant and necessary, his company needed to retain control over something tangible and physical. There could have been other options. Amazon could have bet that the entire reading experience would fully transition to audio. But initially, they ultimately gambled that the act of reading was still integral to the enjoyment of a book. It was later they acquired Audible to ensure that they could serve customers no matter what format they chose. So how do you stay in control of an experience when your product is going from atoms to bytes? Think about what a profound change that is. What would you do if your physical product, one that has been around unchanged for hundreds or even thousands of years, suddenly seemed headed towards obsolescence? How do you still keep yourself relevant? An essential part of the transition or the experience, especially if, like Amazon, you are primarily functioning as the middleman between the product and the customer. How do you keep that link alive? For Amazon, that link is providing the medium that brings the printed word to the reader. First, that medium was books, and now for many, it's the Kindle. Amazon has been smart to keep physical ownership over the process of reading. Even though a reader may have transferred allegiances to digital media, Amazon is still controlling access to the thing in a reader's hand. Now granted, there are plenty of competitors springing up, all with their own pros and cons, but none has both the sheer heft of Amazon's catalog and the huge advantage of having arrived so early in the market. A Kindle, like the Hoover vacuum cleaner before it, became both a specific name of the product and a catch-all term for its category. That is a great place to be. It will be interesting to see how far Amazon pushes the possibilities of the Kindle and how its relationships with publishers and authors will develop. Publishers are no longer in the business of selling paper, yet most still act as though they are. From my own experience of releasing my book through a big-name publisher, I found myself caught just at the flip from the print to digital was happening, and it was quite evident that they were caught off guard. For instance, the publishing industry is still figuring out exactly how to handle pricing on ebooks, and especially how ebooks pricing can and should be aligned with the traditional book pricing in a way that makes sense to the consumer. Customers are not happy to pay more for a Kindle edition than a hardcover edition of the same book. And with the growing number of people listening to audio releases of books, the consumer confusion on pricing is becoming an even bigger issue. So why is it that some books are more expensive as digital than as hardcovers? It just doesn't make sense to consumers, and it's a downright dangerous situation for all concerned if book piracy takes off in the same way that music piracy did years ago. You don't want to antagonize your customers to make them feel like fools for buying what you are selling. Offering a digital download for more than a hardcover does just that. Well, maybe it's too late. My book, which came out in 2012, is illegally available for free on more than 110 sites around the world and in more languages than I even translated the book into. Do not get caught by surprise from a competitor that you don't even see coming that's going to disrupt your industry. Never stop asking yourself, how could my product change in 5 years? Or 10 years? Pick the time frame, but ask yourself, how could my product change in 5 years? Now look deep into the change dynamics that could give you a weak signal that change is happening. How? By asking yourself, what societal, economic, and demographic changes will affect your customers over the next 5 years? Societal. What's the change in perceptions, etc.? Economic growth, markets up and down, or demographic. So what societal, economic, and demographic changes will affect your customers over the next 5 years? Are you missing weak signals about the future of your industry because you feel like the seismic shifts will not affect you? Do not stick your head in the sand. Seismic shifts affect everybody. Change is inevitable. How do you respond is what separates the winners from the losers. So the question is, which are you? I'm Phil McKinney, and thanks for listening. The topic for each show comes from more often than not from listeners just like you who post on my Facebook page or on philmckinney.com. So if you have a topic in mind, drop me a message. This episode of 5 Minutes to New Ideas was produced by the Innovators Network. You can find more episodes that challenge your creative thinking wherever you find your favorite podcast.